everyone, and welcome to the show's name that doesn't make sense, even if you think about it. I am Brand, the Mr. Headache here, as always. I used to be an inspiring Xenomorph main until the fog took me. I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, Ghost, Levi, Ghost Anonymous. Put that a little bit out of order, but that's okay. How are you today, friend?
I'm doing all right actually. Been enjoying DBD a bit lately. I mean, it's always got its ups and downs, but more or less I'm enjoying it, having a good time in life. It's almost the holidays, so win.
I mean, besides the fact that we both got sick in the same week.
you take the good with the bad. It's fine. You got to get sick at some point during the holiday season. It's not winter if you're not sick once or twice.
It's funny because, for reference, despite the fact that Levi and I live in the same state, we do not contact each other, but we got fairly similar sicknesses within a week of each other, which is maybe it can spread through the floor here at
maybe
Theater.
Something. I took some snacks from your candy corner there. That's probably where I got it, if I'm honest.
Those have been sitting out since, well, the map being introduced, so I don't think I would eat those.
I got desperate.
Well, Levi and I used to be aspiring Dead by Daylight streamers until the entity decided to put an end to that. Wah wah. Now we are locked to the confines of Greenville's theater, where we must run a dinky late night talk show to farm the emotions, not only our guests, but you, the viewing audience at home. Thank you ahead of time for your participation. Plenty of times, iconic Dead by Daylight personalities go awry, and they just need to get something off their chest. A perk rubbing you the wrong way, need to vent about it? Late Night by Daylight. Recent update got you down, you just gotta let somebody know. Late Night by Daylight. Just want to complain for no reason at all? You know what comes next. Late night by Daylight. That was almost it. We almost did it.
We're getting there.
You just gotta go with the confidence. You just gotta, like, go for it.
Maybe in a year we can, like, super cut them all together and just see it slowly reel it in.
You know, realistically, I could do that editing. I just choose not to, because if we gotta earn it. You can't just splice it together. You gotta earn it.
Yeah, effort all the way.
Are you ready for the show, Levi Ghost Anonymous?
I think so. It's getting cold. I got my sweater on. I'm good to go.
Sweat her? I don't even know her. I'm sorry. Anyways, lately, in the lovely world of Debbie Delight, Bone Chill Events been in full force. It'll be here for a very long time, which I'm actually pleasantly happy for, because my Bone Chill event has been, well, no pun intended, kind of chill.
Yeah, it's been really good. I haven't loaded up very much Bone Chill. Maybe like 15-20 matches so far, which I guess to some people that might sound like a lot, but every single one has been super relaxed and fun, and the survivors have been goofy, the killers have been goofy. It's actually really weird. It's really nice.
What do you think is different about this event that's kind of creating a less influx of the, oh, well, everybody's playing chill in the event, 4 BNPs, area crows.
I can tell you right now, common enemy. Those damn snowmen blocking your path mid-chase. Happens to both sides. We have a common enemy now. The snowmen, they be hurting both of us. So now we can just chill and take it out on the snowmen.
There was a clip that I have on my channel of me being chased by a Bubba, and I'm out in the open. I got nothing to work with. And I run by a snowman and he bumps the snowman. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, man, I've seen survivors vault a pallet only for a snowman to come in and body block them and hold them captive. I've seen a snowman block a survivor's path through a doorway. They loop around, the survivor gets through the doorway, and then the snowman moves back and now blocks the killer. This is a wild event. I miss the bright, sweet, nice snowmen, but these ones just are pretty entertaining.
I think despite its effects on the server, the fact that they move on their own really did finally make them a fun part of the mode. Because now you can't automatically tell that, hey, clearly somebody's in that because it's moving. But it's like, oh, well, no, they move on their own now. So, like, it could be a person. It could not be.
Yeah, I'm curious if they use the zombie AI from Nemesis, because it's a really cool idea they implemented. So I'm curious to see how it impacts events going forward and if they use it more.
Yeah, honestly, this has been one of my favorite events in recent memory. And usually, I'm not a huge fan of their events because usually what ends up happening is it ends up like unintentionally benefiting one side a lot. And then all the sweats are like, I can exploit that for victory. But I think you're right. I think you got it. I think you nailed it on the head there that like the snowman equally screw both sides over. So like,
yeah, you can't take this mode seriously even if you wanted to. They added just the right amount of like chaotic fun that like if you want to come in 4 BMP, there's just gonna be a snowman that just trolls in your face anyways and just ruins it for you. So what's the point? Just have fun. It worked out really well. Whoever on behavior made this idea, they deserve a raise.
Imagine having fun in the game of Dead by Daylight and not treating it like an esport. Who would have thunk?
Who would have thought?
Well, we do have other things to get to. We have an excellent guest this week. We're going to talk about a lot of serious topics. So batten down your hatches and get ready for some prime entertainment. But first, you must always consult our favorite little friend, our, what's the word? Crowd favorite? Even though he's not a fan of me at all.
A crowd favorite.
One of these days, I need to let you talk to him because he's not a big fan of me.
You know, that'd be interesting. I'm used to foul-mouthed little creatures. That's my whole thing.
What does that mean?
Oh, it was a Chucky joke.
Oh, gosh. All roads lead to Chucky with you. Anyways, we have to do our segment, is what I've been getting to here in a very long roundabout way. Word of the day with Eric Crow. Over to you, Eric. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Word of the Day with Eric the Crow. It's holiday season, Eric. Do you have any plans with the loved ones? You don't have any? Like, not even any friends you could possibly be doing something with? I think I'm starting to put together some pieces on why our friend has such a sunny disposition. Oh, nothing. I was just talking to the audience. Anyways, let's go ahead with the word of the day. What do you have for us today? Immersion. That's a good one. I would have thought of that. What is your definition of immersion? A survivor playstyle focused on stealth and individual survival, often to the detriment of your teammates. Now, Eric, how is immersion bad? What? You mean to say that if you focus on hiding too much, the killer may choose to tunnel or go back to hook because they can't find anybody else? No? And even if you force aggro onto your fellow teammates, the killer will just often find hatch and kill you anyways at the end of the match, so you don't even survive either? And why do you suppose people do it? Well, I can't repeat that one, but I can see what you're saying, that DBD is a team game. And as people have always said in the history of time, there's no I in team. Wait a second. You know what I just realized? When did I learn to speak bird? I think our little friend may be knowing more than he's letting on. Anyways, back to the show. All right, with that out of the way, it's finally time to introduce our guest for this evening. Tonight's guest is one of the best Huntress mains to ever do it. Currently, he's sitting at number 13 on Steam in terms of total hatchet downs from, I think it's 24 meters, something like that. It's like a really, really long distance. But this individual is fantastic, amazing. The doctor is in the house, Dr. Emarald.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh.
Hey.
Before we get carried away today, what pronouns would you like to go by today?
She, her, please.
She, her. And where can the audience find you regularly?
Any platform with Dr._Emarald, or sometimes a dot, but typically an underscore. Just keep in mind, Emerald is spelled wrong with 2 A's.
Emerald.
Yeah, it's because it's a mix of the word Emma and emerald green, which is my favorite color.
Ooh, smart.
Oh.
Well, you have fortunately seen the show already, but I'm going to go through the spiel anyway. Late Night by Daylight is a space where we have, for creators, and personalities to wear out anything that's weighing heavy on them: characters, perks, add-ons, items, community issues, etc. All that we ask is that if it includes other creators in a non-positive way, please keep that anonymous, not Ghost Anonymous, that's you. Yeah, if it's anything negative, keep it anonymous. But other than that, what's on your mind? A lot is the keyword here. A lot, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so much. I genuinely do not understand who Dead by Daylight and Behavior as a company is making DBD for anymore. Because, like, and I don't mean from, like, a horror aspect, from, like, oh, it's for horror fans or whatever. No. I mean, like, in terms of the player base, because every player base for games has, like, a intro, casual, and then, like, veteran, and that's kind of it. And I
Right.
don't understand who they're making it for anymore.
What led you to kind of see that? What is the dissonance that you're seeing that is raising concerns? Like, what are some examples of that doesn't make any sense? Why are they doing that?
So starting with the veteran side, they keep removing things for veterans to do. A lot of it has to do with like texts and learning maps and things, and like a lot of like consistent player skill keeps getting evaporated. One of my biggest complaints is on like Garden of Joy and Dead Dog with like their main buildings. They have the second stories. If you want to play demo, there's an invisible wall there. So your shred just gets canned, and it's really, really annoying. And it's like, okay, so that removes knowledge from those killers, and like knowledge as survivor that those killers can do that. And like some of the killers that can still do stuff like that is like Wesker. They keep nerfing. Granted, if the nerfs were deserved is up to you or not, but they keep changing those killers. And then anything that those veteran players like, since they like to do that stuff, since it gets removed, it kind of punishes them. And anything that they earn kind of gets removed from the veteran status. And then for the new player side, it's like when they hop into the game, I played the tutorial recently again as like a refresher for this.
I'm sorry.
And yeah.
Yeah.
The tutorial, for those who don't know, makes you walk up to a pallet while the killer is 10 feet away from you, downing the Meg, like the bot Meg, and has you drop it as a distraction, and then slow vault it. And I feel worried that people think that's an actual thing to do when starting the game. And the tutorial only teaches you to go against Trapper. It doesn't teach you the other 50 whatever killers we got at this point. I don't even know. It doesn't teach you any of that. It doesn't tell you what hex totems are. Like totems or chest, neither of those exist. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you what keys are. They don't tell you flashlights. They don't tell you medkits. They don't tell you toolboxes. None of that's in the tutorial that you actively play. It's in a subsection that you get to read with
That thing
no
is
visual.
so long too. There's so much there.
I kind of wish they had done the thing like that Monster Hunter does, which is like they have so many different weapons and they have like different abilities. And when you hover over the weapon and the different abilities, it shows a tiny little screen of it happening and how it works, and that alone is so helpful. I wish DBD would just add that in there. That's like the bare minimum, just like little clips.
That's what
bare
confuses
minimum.
me though, because they added recently to the store for like killers like Naughty Bear, right? They have a custom Mori, so now you can
Yeah.
watch Moris. Why don't we have that for tutorial stuff? Like,
That's a good
what's the
idea,
most what's the most common form of regression in the game right now? Like, what's the most common perk?
Interesting.
What's a Scourge Hook?
There you go.
Fair point,
It is at the
yeah.
bottom of the list. Is Scourge Hook. The most common slowdown in the game, you have to scroll all the way down, and it does not show you what a Scourge Hook looks like from the killer POV.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know what's
I
funny
didn't even
about
think
this
that.
too is that they have outsourced this a lot to a lot of like their fog whispers and stuff to be like, hey, this is this funny tactic you can use, and it's like they put it on their socials and stuff, and it's like you have to be following DBD's Twitter or DBD's YouTube to be able to learn to play the game as well.
Have you ever looked into the data between how much of a community interacts with that side of the game?
No.
Less than 5%.
That's scary.
Most people play with friends on DBD and they don't look anywhere else. So they are trusting their friends who might look at that or might not at all to learn the game for them and then tell them how to like do stuff.
Yeah,
So,
no, that makes sense.
Like I personally, I love trial and error stuff. That's why I think looping should be learned. I think there should be like something that TF2 has that I love is the custom like server browser for like fan-made maps and things that you can download to like practice like rocket jumping, for instance. On Soldier there's like Rocket Academy, and it's really, really good for learning him. I would love if I could personally make something like that for Huntress, because there's a lot of cool shots that make me get called a hacker and stuff that I would love to add for knowledgeable people, and it's just we don't have that in the game. So
yeah,
instead,
no, that makes perfect sense. Because like
Yeah,
I
so-
try to explain stuff on like Chucky or something, and I have a specific map and a section of it I've had to find and like discover myself to help teach people, because there's not really another tool anywhere else.
yeah, and it's just like having it in the game where people can be like, I'm curious how Huntress works. Let's go to this custom browser and like play on this Huntress like Huntress Academy map or whatever. It's like that'd be so useful for new players, or just having like anything in the tutorial section with like, an indicator of how Huntress works. I want someone to explain to someone who's played 5 hours. Let's give them a 5-hour break of playing DBD straight. I want them to tell me how Singularity works. Or better yet, tell me how Sadako works. Because I don't even know how Sadako works after 3 reworks.
I'm about to say it's the third iteration, so they keep freaking changing it. So
They'll probably have a better shot than I do, in all honesty. But I told someone actively who like commonly plays, when you pick up a tape of Sadako, you can turn off other TVs. They did not know that was a thing.
yeah, and that's like the most fun thing you can do against that killer.
And it punishes their mouth.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know who they're making it for, and it's really very concerning to me.
I feel like in any game, it's usually pretty pertinent to kind of like, I feel like they kind of emphasize the casual player base a lot, but it's a fine line, because most games are supported by a casual player base and the whales, so the people that buy literally everything all the time. And
Me.
the trap that a lot of games get into is that whales are so addicted to the game through like actually being addicted, and also sunk cost, right? The sunk cost fallacy, that a lot of games stop catering to veterans in general, because they've already got you. You're already gonna buy everything because you've just spent too much and you
Your
can't
loyalty
get out.
there, yeah.
Mhm.
So a lot of games end up like neglecting their veteran player base for that reason. Do you think that's what they're doing, or what is the cause for them just kind of going, the veterans are like whatever?
That could be part of it, but even in those other games, like off the top of my head, that like translates to Overwatch pretty good, I feel, where it's like a lot of like when you're a veteran, there's not really much to do. But I feel like in those games, there's also the competitive mode to flex your skill, right? Like you can grind for a better rank, like League of Legends, Overwatch, CSGO, Valorant, like all those games where it's like sunk cost, and if they keep dumbing the game down for newer players, you can still play the comp mode and get better at it against equal skill players and show that like, yeah, I've been playing for a while, that's why I'm in Diamond. DBD doesn't have that.
Well, it does. They just hide it so you can't see it.
Oh, they hide it. They hide it.
There is only one mode in DBD. People are like, should rank mode come to Dead by Daylight? Like, you're already in it. They just hide everything.
It's I'm not sure. Do you play Apex Legends at all?
No.
So the Apex player base is so small right now that for the ranked mode, if you are bronze, you're facing Apex Predators, which is the maximum RP that you can get in that mode, and like in Apex Legends. That is Dead by Daylight skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like I'm playing Rivals right now, which I'm sure a lot of people are, and you got a few different. But DBD is like if you went from bronze into silver, and then everything from silver up is just all one like lobby. Like you,
I face people with 200 hours.
yeah, it's
I
sad.
cannot
It
be doing
sucks.
that.
It'd be nice. I talk about that all the time too. You know, I just want to play other people, my skill level, and improve. But yeah, you don't really get that space as a veteran.
And it really sucks too, because it's like if you do want to up your skill as a veteran and you're like, I really want to improve at this character, but I want to face people that are around my skill level on this character so I can slowly improve at them. Where can I go off and do that? Well, you have to go to fan-made areas called the Dead by Daylight comp scene, and I'm gonna personal opinion, Ryan Transwin, right? I don't really want to go there. From an outside POV. Hold up, my computer just all my monitors just turned off.
It's calling times out. Calling a timeout.
Hold up, I was scared. My computer just turned off. Okay, I'm back now.
The monitors are like, hey, is it time for commercial break yet? Oh, you're actually right. It's about time. Well, I feel like that would be a good segue then, that we actually do cut to an actual commercial break. I think when we come back, I have to be interested to hear what are your plans, if any, that you have to fix it. But yeah, stick around. Don't change that channel.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking through us with the ad break. Very much appreciated. So, Emerald, we've talked about a few things that the game could improve upon with accessibility and new players. Do you have any ideas of things you would do to fix it yourself, or ideas you might have on how they can improve it?
So I have made the same suggestion on the Dead by Daylight forums for the past 2 years. I think I've made the suggestion about 6 times. They have not acknowledged it once. There's this feature in the game called devotion levels, which you get. It's based on the XP that you get after playing a round, and the devotion currently does nothing.
Which sucks.
Yeah, and you can only get it when playing public lobbies, so it doesn't even matter for the people who only play customs, because it's only for like, I'm playing the video game with random strangers. And it's just, it doesn't do anything, and it's been in the game since Clown. It didn't even always exist, which is weird, but it's been in the game for a while. And I would really like, as a veteran, if it did literally anything. Literally anything. My proposed suggestion is each devotion raises your blood point cap by 1 million.
Oh.
And then also each one gives a 10% permanent gain to blood points in general.
You know, that's really smart, because like, realistically, the people who are like, oh, I want to save up my blood points to immediately complete the DLC to prestige 9 both characters. That's us. It's not the average player. It's like that. I like streaming this game. I'm devoted to this game. I buy every DLC. So that would make a lot of sense.
It's also like I don't know about currently there's no P100 award. If they add those as a veteran, it'd be nice to slowly earn them all. Currently each P100 is about 300 hours of gameplay that goes up or down depending on events, weekends with BP, offerings, things like that. But it's general 300 hours. I did the math like a year ago, so it's definitely out of date now, but it was about 22 to 25,000 hours to P100 everyone in the game at that point in time. It's probably closer 32,000. The highest hour count ever is 20,000, and so you literally couldn't be P100 everybody if the system in place existed at the start of time, unless you were in those BP farming discords.
I was about to say.
Apparently, but that's such a small minority. And
that's insane that exists.
Yeah,
I'm 200 hours off of 8,000 hours in this game.
I say that I'm like 7,500. So.
Well, I have more than you.
Yeah.
Ooh. But I feel like after 8,000 hours, I should be able to easily P100 characters faster than other players. And I mean, like, that's almost an entire year of my life with Dead by Daylight open and actively playing. I am Devotion 48 or 46 last I looked. So that'd be a 480% BP bonus. and I don't see how that's an issue. And I employ anyone watching this, please look at your hour count and then look at your devotion level and say, do you think you've earned that amount with that hours? Because granted, DBD started doing like ×2 XP weekends and stuff, but that barely helps you move like 10 levels, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's, I don't know. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like with a lot of companies, it's just DBD thing. It's like, I don't feel like they see it as like a worthwhile investment, but like it is, because it's long-term customer loyalty, right?
You want to talk about long-term investments of DBD?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just, well, I feel like we've talked about this on a different Night by Daylight, but it's just like, we've just kind of moved as like a worldwide economy into like profit first, long-term investment later. Like, how can we get all the money up front and then dip, rather than like, how do we make something sustainable that lasts forever? And I feel like I definitely see a lot of that bug that is bitten behavior with stuff like that.
One of the most interesting things for DBD I saw recently, which is one of their consultants, Deaf Girl Gaming, loved them, very pleasurable person, said on their Twitter that when they proposed the idea of a hard of hearing terror radius as an accessibility option, Behavior said they didn't really see like a reason to add it. They didn't think many people would use it. They didn't think it was that big of an issue. And I don't know about you guys, but when I watch most live streamers that I personally watch, they have it on.
I use
either because they're listening to music or because they have hard of hearing like chat members or something. They always, like, most of them have it on, unless it's just like they just prefer have it off, which is perfectly fine. But it's more than just like hard of hearing deaf people using it. And I feel that is the reason why they don't really care about very basic accessibility toggles, such as like, I have just mentioned I have 8,000 hours. I don't want to listen to screams on Hook anymore. I understand it's a horror game. I still have nightmares of Elodie releasing.
Yeah,
that was my eardrums still bleed to this day from that. It's not a pleasurable time, and I know what pleasure is. I just want the option to turn screams off, just client side. It doesn't have to nerf anything. It's not Calm Spirit. It's just for me. One of the reasons I can't play Doctor. Doctor is probably my worst performing killer in the game. If I actually sat down and play him, I literally can't. If I'm playing him for 2 rounds or face him for 2 rounds, I get a massive headache and I have to take like a 10-15 minute break from playing the game. It gives me a migraine. And then that's not even including the fact that I just want to make my auras for maps like Cold Wind blue, because the map is really, really bright. It's just a bright ass map. I can't see anything, especially when the aura colors are then made red. I don't know if a lot of people remember this, but Shattered Square from the Decimated Borgo.
Red Shattered Square, woo!
Red Shattered Square, yeah. Imagine being colorblind on that map at that moment in time. I'm not personally colorblind, but I still couldn't see gens.
Yeah, that was
just
rough.
A basic toggle, just like, even if it's just a pre-selected thing of colors, like from blue, red, and green. Just 3 basic options. Just those are the 3. And I'm like, great, I'll choose blue. That's fine. And instead, it's just an option that doesn't exist. And instead, they're like, oh, here's a colorblind feature that doesn't work. And I mean that because I genuinely don't know a single colorblind person
who likes them,
who uses it at all. They all have reshade or they're stuck on console.
Yeah.
And it's very concerning for me that they just seem to not care. Especially, like, I'm hoping early 2025, they really sit down and add these things, because I don't know what licensed content can rival FNAF ever.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the biggest, since probably Stranger Things. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of Stranger Things. I don't know why people care about it, but it's like...
The views expressed by our guests are not always expressed by you ladies.
I tried watching it 3 times. I just can't. But I'm like, FNAF's probably like the biggest, like, the game will ever have eyes on it ever. Because I can't think of another license that could rival it in terms of we haven't seen it before. Because FNAF would be the first mascot horror. It was the starter of mascot horror. The other horrors that we have, like if they add Jason, I don't think Jason rivals FNAF anymore. Maybe if he was the first DLC, but if you think of Jason fans, they already have a bunch of killers. They have Chucky, Freddy, Myers, they all exist already. So it's like, that's the same fan base. FNAF is a different fan base. And that's gonna bring a lot of new people, and there's just not, like, we already talked about the new player experience. Half of those members probably have accessibility issues with the game, and there's no toggles for them. And it's just, how are you supposed to tell a player who's like, oh, I'm red-green colorblind, can't see gens? How are you supposed to tell them, oh, are you on PC? No, sorry. Out of luck. You're on PC? Great. So look up Reshade.
It's not even just auras, it's the scratch marks, blood stains, all of it. Yeah, and honestly, with content creation, I've always thought they probably need to have a filter for blood, just since the game relies so heavily on content with how YouTube's starting to really heavily censor stuff. Being able to change the color of blood would probably be really helpful.
I'd love to make it black.
Something.
In Japan for Resident Evil 7, they made because you had to pick up your own like cut off hand or whatever. Spoilers for a game that came out in like 2016.
But you should absolutely play. It's great.
It's great. It's my favorite Resident Evil. But the blood for Japan's release is black because they don't like violence and they don't like violence in like their horror games that much. So they're like, if you make the blood black, it's fine. And then like sometimes it's white in some censorship,
which is very unfortunate.
You can look up those images. They're quite funny. But it's like basic toggles like that would be really, really nice.
Yeah, I think it'd go a long way for a lot of people.
Well, I think that was an incredible insight into the accessibility situation. There is a very, I think, important question that I think is a good lesson for all Dead by Daylight members, because it's been something of a little bit of a controversy lately that we will get to after this commercial break. So be patient, don't turn the channel, and we will be right back. Hello everyone, welcome to our little commercial segment that we do, our little ad breaks in between. Today we are returning a not fan favorite, it's just one of our favorites, similarities. If you're unfamiliar with the format of similarities, is that we try to pull similarities from the world and life of Dead by Daylight with average everyday activities. So there's usually some funny, zany things that we come up with there. Oh, yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
I put the little things down here in the YouTube video so you can skip ahead if you hate us. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk about similarities with our first question here. Things you could say while being downed by the killer and while being arrested.
Oh man, I just got off the hook. What the hell?
Wait, did the police put you on the hook when they arrested you?
No, I just got released from jail. I just got off the hook. And,
okay. I just got off the hook. I mean, like, if you're a repeat offender, isn't that on you?
Yeah, it's true. Hey, we're not getting into ethics here. Remember?
You're the one that got the degree in it, okay? You would know better than me. Things you can say to the survivors and to your roommate.
Hey, can you give me some butt rubs?
Give me some butt rubs.
Oh, we all know you say that to your survivor teammates.
Do I? I don't watch my own streams very much. Do I actually say that?
It's been said once or twice. I don't have proof, but that's what I'm gonna say.
Okay, so you don't actually know.
I feel like it's been said. And if anything, I've been in your streams on Survive with Friends nights, and I've definitely said it. Now, it might have not been audible, but I said it.
Those nights are absolutely chaos.
Yeah, they are. They always are. Yeah.
You want to shoulder the burden of electricity? You want to shoulder the burden of the internet this week?
You want to shoulder some of this burden? Take out this garbage? It's been sitting in the kitchen for a few days. My roommate fills up the trash can quicker than anybody, but that takes it out like the least. It's pain. Yep. Yeah. See, talking from real stuff. Yep.
All right. Things you could say while playing killer and while babysitting.
Oh my God. The screaming is killing me.
The screaming is killing me. You can't alt-tab kids in real life.
You can't.
This old bastard keeps getting away.
I swear they're just like crawling and crouching around here somewhere.
Does this thing have tenacity? Why does it keep moving so fast?
I never realized how similar this was. You don't play a killer in DBD, you play a babysitter.
It feels that way sometimes. It feels like people force you to be a babysitter.
It really does. It really does. Kids BM you in real life too sometimes. I mean, it's really one-to-one.
Well, it turns out there's a lot more similarities to these questions this week than there was to our ones last week. So the questions are getting higher in quality. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this won't get us in trouble with our partners this time.
Yeah, I tried to avoid those this time because I'm like, man, sometimes they watch our stuff and it's like,
Oh yeah, yeah. There were some words. I'm not in trouble, but there were some questions, for sure.
Yeah,
So I
so
think I'm safe this time.
tried to bail you and me out this time. So yeah, but back to us, I guess. From us, back to us.
Yeah, but yeah. We'll just toss it back.
Nope. All right, and we're back. Welcome back to Late Night by Daylight. Show's name doesn't make sense, even if you think about it. We were having an excellent conversation, very fruitful, with Dr. Emerald, the doctor in the house, about accessibility. And there was a very important question I wanted to ask in particular. And you were talking about very much how you want to rant a lot. This is probably going to get you ranting.
Oh, good.
In terms of accessibility, it is something that is somehow turned into a controversy somehow. I've seen a lot of community members take hard stances against it for some reason, which is absurd. And the most absurd statement I often hear is that it's a horror game, so you should be scared and uncomfortable, etc. Can you, from your perspective, dissect just why this statement does not make any sense at all?
It is a video game meant for fun. I don't understand. I know you asked this from that tweet I made. So for those that aren't unaware, Dead by Daylight said, "Oh guys, look, we're eligible for most accessible horror game on the market." I made a tweet making fun of them and calling them a shithead because that's a stupid tweet to make when your game, as we just said, doesn't have basic colorblind settings. Not even adding on to the fact, which I didn't even mention, is that every accessibility change they made is because they made balance changes. The hard of hearing Terradius, they nerfed Spine Chill. Colorblind settings, some big shot complained on Twitter. Those are the two accessibility changes they made, and when Trickster caused seizures, they didn't even disable the killer because it was during Anniversary, and they waited until Anniversary ended to disable the killer. People were put in the hospital. So every single time someone mentions, "Oh boy, it's a horror game, you should trigger your phobias," how do you think Dead by Daylight is marketed to people? Like, it's marketed as a run from killer. It's not Subnautica, where it's like, you are put onto a world that is purely ocean with leviathans that are the size of the United States of America. Good luck. That's not the trailer. The trailer has a Deathslinger who's bad at the game missing a Serena. That is the ideal trailer moment that I know from that. And that's the only that's like the trailer that I want to specifically mention. It does not show it does not show, and like recently with Houndmaster, it doesn't show Houndmaster's lobby and zooms in on the mushrooms for people who are like have a phobia of mushrooms, which basically just choosing your lobby should be a customization feature anyway, but whatever, I guess. It's just things like that should just be options, and if you have a problem with it, don't click the option. I don't know why that's hard for people to understand. It reminds me of when Starfield came out, there was this huge rant that you could choose your pronouns.
Oh no, not this. That one bald guy just freaking the hell out.
Listen, here's a tip. Ignore the option.
Don't pick it. It's
Just
okay.
You don't have to look at it. Like on Cyberpunk 2077, it's like you can choose how big your penis is. If that makes you uncomfortable, you can just not click on that setting. In fact, it's disabled by default because they know not everyone wants to look at it, so it's disabled. And you have to go enable it. I know I sure did, but it's like you control what buttons you press for these types of things. And it's making me realize that a lot of people just don't care about others when playing a video game. At least for options like that, which is like, I don't know, you do you. I don't know how to tell you to care more about other human beings, but I have increased my Twitter block list by a hefty amount. I will say, every single content creator that responded to that was nice. They were actually on my side. Every single one agreed that it's like, yeah, this game needs better accessibility options, either in terms of accessibility for newer players into the game, which we already talked about, and like accessibility for anyone with like a disability. Those are two separate things that have the same tag, I guess. Oh,
I knew that question was gonna get you to go off.
The only other question that can make me go off is a Huntress balance decision that's a separate convo.
I think it's one of those things where I don't only feel this way about DVD. I feel this way in life. I'm one of those people in general. They're like, you do you, man. Like if you want to be weird, you want to be out there, you want to be quirky. Like as long as you're not hurting anybody, it's like that's not my business. You go vibe. And I meet a lot of people who supposedly feel the exact same way until, you know, they're like, oh, well, Siri looks 10 years older, so I can't goon to her anymore, so everything's woke. And it's like, that's like, wait, why does that matter? Like, where was that energy of like, as long as it doesn't hurt anything, who cares? Like, where was that?
What I find funny is that accessibility, like, as a toggle, will always help people. It's never a bad thing.
Yeah,
and
that
I love asking a question. It's like, have you ever used a ramp meant for wheelchairs when walking somewhere?
Nope.
You haven't? Really? Because I do it all the time.
I don't. I'm like that's not for me.
I'm like,
we moved into a house and the previous tenants had wheelchairs, so we didn't have a front like stairway up to the house. It was just a ramp, but I mean we used it just the same. It didn't hurt us. In fact, we never got rid of it because it was just nice to have in case anybody did come over with a wheelchair. It was just a net positive. Like it didn't harm anybody. It was still usable. Like really didn't hurt. It's just a net positive the whole way around.
I would do this thing when I was walking with my grandparents' places. They would take the steps, and they're so slow going up the steps. I would go up the ramp so that we would arrive at the top at the same time. So it's moments like that you can only form by those things being added in the first place.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not something I understand. Like, if it doesn't concern you, why are you upset about it? Like, I understand that, like, this gets into bigger things than Dead by Daylight. Like, people, we live very much in an age where people see anything that's not, if this doesn't follow the ABC format of, like, my culture, this is a culture war now. Now you're attacking my culture. Like, people are very defensive of their traditions and cultures. I think they're constantly under attack. So they take everything as a microaggression towards their culture, which is bigger than DBD, bigger than anything we could talk about on a goofy talk show. But like, it's just, if it doesn't affect you and it doesn't hurt anybody, does it matter? The answer is no.
The thing that I find crazy is the people who go, but it gives those people an advantage. Or like people who don't have like an issue or like a disability, it gives them the advantage if they turn on that setting, right? I don't know about how you guys truly play the game. I literally have my favorite fun fact is that I don't know what the menu themes for killers sound like because I've had that menu music muted since 2020.
Yep.
Because I listen to my own music, so it's like when I face a spirit, I still have the music on, and I don't know how it would indirectly buff people who can already hear if they added a like little wheel on the screen to point to where the directional audio, that is directional audio of where the spirit is, that if you can hear the directional audio. Keep in mind I keep saying directional because it points to where the spirit is with your ears.
It's funny because we actually have a killer that has directional audio and it has a visual cue for giving away the positioning, and people still say it's useless.
Don't talk
so
about
ever
it,
but it's there.
Don't.
I'm not saying names. If you're mentioning a specific killer, it's not me. But
no. I would love to discuss Chucky with you. Different place, different time.
My point is, there's already a similar tool, and it hasn't helped people make that any easier, right? So that argument to me kind of falls apart. Of, well,
I think,
go on.
Here's the difference for me. The footfalls, there's one fake footfalls that generally points it elsewhere. Second of all, the audio is kind of heavily bugged. And third of all, the radius for the footballs is extremely tiny for me. I feel like when he's a dash killer that can dash at me, it kind of means nothing in the fact that he can close the distance before like the footfalls even show up of where he is in like 2 seconds. Now granted they nerfed his dash speed recently, but I haven't faced Chucky since because everyone stopped playing him.
I do think I actually have something pretty I think it's something that I've learned in my life experience that's pretty unique. Is like we were talking about before we got in today's episode, was that I was a teacher for 4 years, which is a funny thing, a weird thing to be in the Dead by Daylight community. But one of the things that I had to constantly be a part of, in charge of, and execute were individualized education plans, also known as IEPs, for people that have like ADHD, autism, etc. And the idea with those is to create an education plan that brings you to the same level as everybody else, because like the way that you experience the world is different to the average student. So these plans are made to give supports so that you can have an equal experience. It's not made so like my brother had an IEP like the entire time he was in school. His IEP was not made to make him better than any of the other students in any of his classes. It was just to give him an equal chance, so he was on par with everybody else. And I'm trying to say this without sounding mean. It just, when people say stuff like that, of like, it gives them an advantage, it just speaks to me that like you have not been in an experience where you truly either have a family member or you in particular have ever had to be in that situation. It's a complete, like, it comes from a complete place of ignorance and misunderstanding. Because if you had experienced these things or were well informed about them, you wouldn't say weird stuff like that.
It reminds me of the discussion around reshade being cheating or not. And I always find that conversation so interesting to me because for me personally, the conversation should start and stop with, is there proper colorblind settings? The answer is no. Convo stops there. Doesn't matter if it's counts as cheating or not until there's proper settings for the people who have to use reshade to play the game or in place in the first place. But the other side is that, like, I genuinely can't think of a scenario where reshade matters outside of just making the game look nicer, because I know a lot of content creators use it, like, not for an advantage, but so chat can see, because OBS, Twitch, and stuff naturally dims gameplay. So it's like, it's really nice to brighten it up just a little bit so that people can understand what's going on easier, especially if they're like half paying attention, which, let's face it, most people who watch streams are half paying attention. Most of them have like something open. So it's just, it's a lot nicer to just be able to easily glance at it and see everything. I know I personally didn't use reshade for the first 2, maybe 3 years of me playing this game until they updated Haddonfield and RPD, because those 2 maps had major lighting issues and I couldn't see anything in the hallways. I'm like, okay, if I can't see anything, chat can't see anything, and they actively complained to me that they couldn't see the game when I got those maps. So I'm like, okay, we'll get reshade them. And it's like, it doesn't help with stealth, because stealth is already like kind of money locked, because stealth is easier with cosmetics and certain characters you play. It's like, if you run those cosmetics on that character, it's easier to stealth on these maps. Like, my favorite advice for some people for Huntress is that if you want to send yourself to Ormond, wear the Deep Rift cosmetics that are blue, because you match into the snow easier at a distance. So it's harder for survivors to pick you out. Even just a second delay lets you hit a hatchet hit from that distance away. And a lot of people don't consider that for a lot of people don't consider that for the characters they play, and it kind of only matters for Huntress because she's ranged. So that slight second delay means everything. And it doesn't matter if you change your reshade or not, because the map as a whole is going to stay the same lighting. It's going to change the cosmetics the same way. And I don't understand how people can say that's cheating, because it's going to be the same thing. Like, and then on top of that, even if you want to ignore the stealth component and say, well, it makes chases easier. How? I genuinely don't know how. Like, because I can see the red stain? Okay, I could see it without. I don't see how that's a problem. Because colorblind people can see the red stain? Well, great. Now they're playing like they're able to play the game like everyone else.
Yeah, it's the supports to make things on the same level. It's not an advantage. It's bringing everybody who has A, B, C, D, F, G that makes them on an unequal playing field up to the rest of us. Up to the average player. It's not about giving somebody an advantage. I think people are just how do I say this without being mean? Once again, it's a complete lack of it's a complete lack of understanding. They see buff. You put it in layman's terms. They see buff to a specific player base. Buff means they're getting a buff. I'm not getting the buff, so bad. It's like they're not considering that's like, wait, this person is partially deaf or fully deaf, so maybe this will help. Hey, this person can't see all the full color range, so maybe this will help them. Like, they don't understand that they're starting behind, essentially, for things that are not their fault at all. But they just see, why are they getting that and I'm not getting that? It's just like, it's like bonehead thought. It's so depressing.
You talking about the other, like, people getting mad about other people getting buffed immediately made me think of when the anti-camp was added. And there were, like, certain players who were like, but I need to face camp sometimes. Then I'm like, okay, learn to play differently now, please. It reminds me, every single time one of those features comes through the game, people complain. I remember when they added the terror radius for hard of hearing people. There were some killers were like, oh, but now they always know when my lullaby's there. It's gonna be so unfair because it gets rid of the reaction time. I'm like, okay, so you have to now play better? I don't understand how that's a problem. Because when was the last, do you guys remember, like, I don't know if you guys noticed this in Tricksters, the lullaby, but it's loud and then it dips and then it gets loud again. And I don't know why. It's really annoying. So I'm like, the terror radius toggle makes it a lot nicer because I know, like, when that dip happens, because I think it's the lullaby transferring to the terror radius. So it's like, it's nice to know when that transfer happens without having to, like, strain my ears and then, like, oh shit, he's behind me. And it's things like that where it's like it fixes a lot of audio bugs by just having options.
It just improves the quality of life overall forever. Like, even if, like we've talked about it a few times, even if you don't have hard of hearing issues or anything like that, lots of people still use the visual heartbeat. So yeah, it increases it. It's a buff for everyone, even if you don't think so. Like, it just ends up helping.
I mean, if you guys had the option to turn off screams on hook, would you use it?
I probably wouldn't, but because it's important to other people, I would still like.
Yeah, exactly.
I watch people like Scooty Booty, great woman. Love
one of the best Weskers to ever do it.
Yeah,
I think I don't even know who they main anymore. They keep swapping.
Rush killer of the meta, essentially.
Yeah,
this killer Rush, I'm in.
It might be Houndmaster now. I know Our can swap to her.
I love Alran. I can.
Yeah,
I can't say their name. I struggle so hard. But it's like, I know they both independently use, like, the mute focus option and then alt tab when they hook people to mute the sound. I know a lot of people who do that, and a lot of them tend to be more, like, competitive driven people tend to, like, do that. Oh, I'm gonna alt tab to mute the scream.
Yeah.
And it's just why isn't that just a built-in option?
Yeah,
I don't
it'd be
know.
nice. With that, I think it'd be good for, I think this is a good time to break for our next commercial break.
Break for commercial break. Break.
All the breaks. It is DBD after all we're talking about. We had to have breaks everywhere.
Hi guys, Brandon here. You're probably expecting a commercial here, which is totally fair because that's usually what we do, but something kind of went awry. Levi was in charge of this commercial, but his computer went kaput. It didn't actually blow up or anything, but it just kind of stopped working. So yeah, this is here instead. So from my family to yours, I want to wish you guys a very happy holiday and a very Merry Christmas. I know there's a lot of parties, shindigs, and stuff going down here this week, so make sure that you have a designated driver or an Uber if you're going to be drinking that all this week. Also, I know a lot of people decorate with candles and stuff, so make sure you guys are extinguishing that and also being very cautious of open flames while the party's actually happening. All that wonderful stuff so you can have a very, very safe and holiday. Well, now I'm going to send it back to the show. I just wanted to wish you guys a very, very lovely holiday from us here at Late Night by Daylight. And Will! And Wilhelm! Say hi, goodbye, Wilhelm! Say goodbye, Will! Bye, Will! Bye!
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that commercial break yet again. So typically we would like to end off on some positivity here in the fog. We can never have enough of it in this community. Is there anything that you're thankful from with your experience within DBD?
Dead by Daylight, I remember I had about, I want to say like 900 hours in the game. I wasn't a content creator yet. And I faced this doctor player with some friends. And the doctor player was really, really bad. But we immediately befriended them like during the EGC and invited them to the Discord that we were in at that time. And then we started hanging out with them. That eventually snowballed. Their name was, we called them Moo. That eventually snowballed into me starting my streaming career.
Wait, is it Meticulous?
No.
Oh.
No, it's Mew Ties.
There's another Moo that I love to death.
Well, no, it snowballed into eventually me starting streaming probably like 6-7 months later in that January of 2021, which led to my entire content career. So I would say that's probably my most thankful for DBD is opportunities like that, because I know I'm not alone in things like that leading to friendships and different events in life and stuff.
Yeah, no. Lots of friendship found in the fog, surprisingly.
Oh my god, there's no better place to find gay people.
It's so true. It's so true. I play any other gaming community.
Oh my god.
Any other gaming community, it's not like it's like so hard. But in DBD, it's like every other person.
Every single Leon points at the trans flag on my hook, and they point at it and they nod at me, and I'm like, oh, thank you, and then I stab them because I have to play the video game.
That's why I think it's so weird that DBD like people in the community will come in and be like, oh, whoa, DBD is so woke. I'm like, did you look? Do you know what game you're playing?
I'm like, you walked
met
into
us?
the gay bar of video games. I don't know what you were expecting.
It's the entire horror genre is the gay bar of video game.
Yeah, fair point. It blows my mind. I'm like, how did you are the definition of not reading the room. Holy crap.
We all get murdered equally.
What do you mean the entire Hellraiser franchise is based off gay agenda? That'd be crazy. Yeah. Why would they do that?
All right, Emerald, where can the audience find you yet again?
Every single place is Dr_Emerald. Just keep in mind, Emerald is spelled wrong with 2 A's, so it's EMARALD. Emarald. You will be shocked at the amount of people who, when they are silently mad at me after a round, but don't want to critique me heavily, they're like, Emerald spelled wrong in your username. I'm like, damn straight it is.
I had anonymous misspelt for a year before somebody told me, and I realized, so mine wasn't intentional. I just mistyped it, and it was anonymous. I think the Y was before the second N, so it was anonymous.
Anonymous.
No. And I remember I had a horrible match, ironically, as Huntress, and they're just like, by the way, dumbass, your name is misspelled, and was crushed. They were right.
They got you.
Morally crushed.
But yeah, shit, is my YouTube the same thing? No, my YouTube's a dot. I said that at the start. On YouTube, it's Dr. Dot and then a space bar and then Emerald spelled wrong.
Dr. Dot spacebar sounds like a 90s anime sci-fi.
That really does.
Add .com to the end and get the early 2000s.
Well, we very much appreciated having you. This was a very, very fruitful conversation about non-serious things and a lot of serious things, which is a good mix. But yeah, we appreciate having you so much. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you so much. Everybody wave and say goodbye. The doctor is now leaving the house. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
It's cold out here.
All right, well, it looks like we're reaching the end of our 5th episode here. Eventually, Levi will run out of fingers for that little thing he does over there. But it's not yet. Probably won't happen until the next season. But it is that time of the show where we must check how we did with the entity and make sure that the entity does not smite us based on our performance today. So let's go ahead and see how we did with the entity. I mean, it's still Pip.
Yeah, hey, as long as we're pipping, we're moving forward. I'll take it.
It's like we're not. We established like a solid baseline. That's good, right? Like as long as we're far away from being smited, we're good.
Yeah, that's all we got to do. D's get degrees, as they say.
D's get D's nuts. Got him. Sorry, it was right there. I had to.
Sorry, it's killing me.
I had the moment it left my mouth. I'm like, it's like involuntary.
Yeah, you're infected.
And that, I mean, a good thing I said that after the rating was given, because I feel like that would have knocked it down a few notches. Well, either way, thank you so much for coming out tonight, everybody. Your love and support means a lot because our lives, well, you know, quite literally depend on it. Yeah. Please save us from upsetting the entity again by tuning in next week. But before that, do we have anything else to bless us with there, Levi Ghost Anonymous?
Yeah, something that I actually personally went through. You know, I often talk about being careful of what you say to others and being mindful of your own actions. But I think sometimes it's also important to be mindful of other people's actions. It's no secret, the end-game chat, and sometimes even before that point, it's not always a pleasurable experience playing the game. But, you know, one thing I try to remember is like over half the population is at a 4th grade reading level or may in fact be children. So why should I be bothering myself with what they say? Sometimes, and the people that don't even fit in that category, sometimes they're just projecting themselves as well. So if you get that stuff, try not to take it too personally. Just remember they might be a child, uneducated, or just having their own issues. And that's okay. We just move on and just try not to add to it.
You know what's real funny? I got somebody who was really salty in that game chat the other day. I checked their Steam profile. I'm not exaggerating. Hi, I'm 12 was the first thing that it said. And I was like, oh, well, that explains everything. Never mind.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. See, you don't want to be sitting in the end-game chat like getting
fighting with the middle schooler.
Right? Exactly.
Dude, that kid's still Naruto running down the freaking hallway and you're yelling at them about DBD. Like, let it go.
Yeah. Yep. Respect.
Anyways, thank you for watching, everybody. We appreciate you, but we will see you in the next one. Good night, everyone.
Night.